Yahusha. Bless Yahusha, the Son, the perfect Lamb of Yah, the perfect Lamb of the Most High. Yah manifested as flesh. The Most High saves, the Most High delivers, the Most High redeems. Yahusha. Yahuwah, the Most High creates, the Most High breathes into existence. Yahusha, the Most High, Uah, W, not Wah, but adds, Yah, the Most High adds, deliverance, adds salvation, adds redemption. Yahusha, bless Yahusha. Hallelujah. Praise Yah, praise the Most High. Workout done, workout in the bag, workout complete, rinsed, extinguished, purged of all negative energy, foul energy, wayward energy. Complete peace, solace, and connection while in the zone, while in flow state, while receiving the signal, the transmission of Yahushua HaMashiach, deep in thought, ponderance, meditation, comprehension, rumination on the word, receiving those epiphanies. Powerful, powerful, power. I've been talking the last few days about sight through faith, about sight in Hamashiach, about how Hamashiach brings a vision unlike any other that can be seen on this temporal plane. As we navigate this earth, we see the things of this earth, the things of this life, and all things of this life perish. All things of this life are written in stone, dead to the true world, dead to the true universe, dead to the everlasting life, dead to Hamashiach. This life is filled with false idols, false realities, false illusions, mirages, and it is reigned over by the father of all illusion, by the father of all mirages, by the father of lies. The devil, Satan, Lucifer, the demons of this world, lord over this world and work to influence us, distract us, and divert us from the true path, from the path of righteousness, from the path that sets us free, from the path that has been opened in our heart, and once opened can never be unopened in Hamashiach, in Yahusha, in the Son. And so, in seeing for the first time through the eyes of Yahusha HaMashiach, the Son of the Most High, the Son of Yah, with that salvation, with that pure heart, with that righteous heart, everything looks different because we no longer see the manifestation of lies. We see behind the lies, we see the zeros and the ones. And that is so powerful because it allows us to navigate this life in a way where we can truly live his mission, his purpose, his love, his righteousness, which is love Yahuwah, the Most High, with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your fellow man. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And so how do you do that? The only way you can do that is with a pure heart, with a righteous heart, with a justified heart, with a sanctified heart, with a loving, kind, meek, not as in weak, but as in a heart that controls its passions, its rage, its hate, its violence, its envy, its jealousy, its greed, all of the negative emotions, all of the emotions that are inspired by and driven by the Lord of the flies, the Lord of filth, the father of lies, Hashatan, Satan, Lucifer, the demons of this world that will beset you and sling their arrows at you, the haters, detractors, psychic vampires that will absolutely suck you dry and lead you astray for their own pleasure because misery loves company. But in Hamashiach, we're filled with love, and so we want to love our neighbor. But we have to love our neighbor. We have to love ourselves. Again, if you're going to love your neighbor, you should love yourself. How do you love yourself such that you can truly love your neighbor in a befitting manner, in a joyous manner, in a manner that builds them up and lifts them up and doesn't tear them down as you tear yourself down in the ways of this world. So we have to be in this world. Yes, there's no doubt about it. We are in this world right now. Even though we march to kingdom come, we are in this world, but we are not of this world because we have true sight now, true vision. We have true clarity. And how that clarity helps us to love ourselves and love others how that clarity helps us to stay strong and wear the armor of Yah in an impervious manner, such that we can no longer be wounded by the slings and arrows of evil while walking this earth, is that Yahusha's clarity, that clarity of righteousness, allows us to walk that path true and strong. It allows us to see the false people of this world for what they are. Those that are driven by Lucifer and the devil and the demons of those that are driven even in the most insidious of ways, in the most deceptive of manner, in the most treacherous of manner. Because the monsters of this world won't come at you with an ugly visage, a demonic visage, such that you're afraid of them. No, they're gonna lure you in. They're gonna tempt you in, and so you need to live apart from that. You need to remove these psychic vampires from your lives, because they creep in slow, and they suck you dry slow. They pull all the joy out of you. They pull all the love out of you, and they leave you wrecked and wanting and bereft. You know who they are, but you can't see them at first. But be ever watchful, be vigilant for these false people, these psychic vampires, these haters, these detractors in disguise. You have clarity now in Yahusha to see the falsehood behind illicit drugs, the falsehood behind the temporary and ephemeral warmth they deliver, the freedom from pain that they deliver. It's only an illusion. It's temporary. It's elusive. You chase it like you chase the, what do they call it? Chasing the dragon. When you're addicted to opium, when you're addicted to opiates, you chase the dragon. It is truly a dragon. The dragon is a metaphor for the father of lies. The father of lies manifests as a dragon. The father of lies is a dragon. So you chase the dragon. You chase what is destructive of you. You chase what tears you down, because it is a false promise. It gives you a life of escapism today, gives you a life of being free from the pains and the ills of this world for today, only to render you asunder and wreck you with worse pain, with worse illusion, with worse horrors than you could ever imagine. And so that clarity allows you to see the truth behind these illicit and cheap thrills, illicit cheap highs, illicit cheap numbing chemicals, toxins, and poisons that fool you into entertainment, into partying, into false joy, false happiness, revelry, celebration. But it's not really revelry, it's not really celebration, it's not real happiness. Again, it's a mask, it's a masquerade, it's an illusion. And clarity in Yahusha, the clarity that brings is you see it for what it is. And the most insidious of them all, the most deceptive of them all, the most treacherous of them all is food. And so the clarity that living in the light and the love of Yahusha HaMashiach, the clarity that brings you also allows you to see behind the absolute deception of the foods that we eat. Nothing is more surreptitious than food, because you could, look, at the extremes, you could live without people. And so you would move out all people from your life, including those haters, detractors, and psychic vampires, to your own detriment, because you're losing the good people in your life, the people that you might love most in your life, and becoming a monk and separating yourself completely. And you could live without drugs. You absolutely can abstain from all drugs and be straight edge. The one thing you can't live without, and when I say live, I don't mean live, because there's living on this planet which is ultimately perishing, and without Yahusha, without living in his salvation, his love, remember, he is the way, the truth, and the life. Navigating this earth is death. This earth is a hard heart. This earth and the laws of this earth are written in stone. And stone is death. Stone condemns. Stone only reveals condemnation. The laws of man written in stone only reveal condemnation, sin, and death. Such too are the foods manifested, manufactured, prepared, designed by the hands that inhabit this earth. Food built for profit, not for nourishment. The one thing you cannot abstain from for too long is food. And so we all have to eat. We all have to eat. And so that's why food is the most most insidious, treacherous, deceptive, and surreptitious of all the lies. Because the food that's manufactured for our pleasure, for our hedonism, it starts off tasting good. But even our taste buds have been fooled from what truly tastes good. From the time we're children, we're marketed to, we're advertised to. Think about it. The one thing that should never have to be advertised to us is food. Why would you? We all need to eat. We all want to eat. But if we weren't marketed to, if foods weren't manufactured to tempt us, to lure us away in sick indulgences that only titillate the taste buds for a moment and make you sick over the long term, that's the surreptitious nature of these manufactured junk, poisonous, toxic foods. They're masked in chemical flavors that deceive us, such that they have to be, think about it. They're marketed, they're built, they're designed for profit, and and not that profit's bad, but think about it. They maximize profits by making these foods as cheap, but as tempting and luring as possible. And therein lies the devil. Therein lies the Luciferian narrative behind it all. Therein lies the true decadence and depravity and defilement of the human temple, the body, because Elohim lives within us. The Most High lives within us. The Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, lives within us, and so we have a responsibility to keep this temple strong, but we've been deceived, we've been misled about the foods and the nourishment that will keep this temple strong. But it's a slow drip-feeding poison. Drugs will take you down much faster. Initially, you have a little bit. You get higher, and then you're always chasing the dragon. You're always chasing that high, and the high gets less and less and less. You have to do more and more and more, and that cycle happens very quickly. That descent into darkness, the descent into the abyss happens very quickly. So it's easy to recognize it. It's with food that it's at its most treacherous, because that sickness that develops within you, that deconstruction that these toxic chemical foods have, this tearing away of your foundation, this rotting away of your foundation happens slowly over time until you develop all manner of chronic diseases, cancers, diabetes, autoimmune issues, inflammatory issues, which is at the heart of all autoimmune disease, cardiovascular disease, all of these chronic illnesses that beset our society. Most of it is brought on by the consistent intake of poisonous, toxic, man-made, manufactured foods, manufactured for maximum profit, optimized for maximum profit, not for health, but for evil. Because when you're going to make foods, mass-produce foods, and you seek to maximize profits, you're going to use the cheapest ingredients, the ingredients that allow the manufacturing process itself to be most efficient. And oftentimes these are, again, chemical, toxic, manufactured, poisonous substances that weren't meant for long-term human consumption, let alone short-term human consumption. And again, I say it's insidious because it's a slow drip feed deception. And then you say, well, profit is good, capitalism is good. Yes. And what the argument is that capitalism and profit is something cannot be profitable unless people want it. So you're only making things that people want. So you're doing a good thing because you're making things that people want. You're serving the public good. You're serving the public interest. You're making things that they want and need. But that's not true all of the time, because when you manufacture things for maximum profit, when you optimize for maximum profit, you have to optimize and maximize for efficiencies, ever greater and greater and greater efficiencies, which erode away ultimately when it comes to the food chain, when it comes to the food supply, at the expense of nourishment and at the expense of your health. And so, those foods, think about it. Think about it. Are you really making what people want? Is this what people really want? If they really want it, why does it have to be marketed to us? Why does it have to be advertised to us? Why does the jingles and the commercials and the advertisements and the marketing have to be constant? Why does the drumbeat have to be never ending? Why does the messaging have to be subliminal? Why do all these things have to hound us and pound us day in, day out in all manner? The advertising never ends, no matter where we are, no matter where we walk. It's on the billboards. It's in the skies, right? As the planes go by, right? The billboards, the flying billboards, the floating billboards on the beach, the billboards you see when you're driving by, when you listen to the radio, when you listen to the podcast, when you watch television, when you go, everywhere you go, you're being pounded by marketing for the foods that you should be eating. When was the last time you were pounded and hounded, the drumbeat never ending of messaging for a steak, for a piece of chicken? I don't know how chicken might not be that nutritious. For fish, I say beef mostly because beef is the most nutrient-dense food. Ruminant animals are the most nutrient-dense foods on this planet. Not that you should gorge yourself on that endlessly either. Anything in over-excess, where you eat to hedonism, where you eat to pleasure seek, is ultimately going to render you asunder. But when we're talking pound for pound, ounce for ounce, most nutrient-dense foods on the planet, what do you have? You have meat, fruits, and vegetables. Right? You have certain animals and certain plants at the end of the day. And with the plants, you have to weed away the ones that cause the most, that have the most toxic, because plants have chemical defense systems. Chemical defense systems to keep you away from them. And so we seek to breed those out, those chemical toxic poisons out, but we can't get them all out. And over time, certain plants can cause autoimmune issues, can cause inflammatory issues, can cause illness, can cause allergies, right? So there, you have to weed away from certain plants, and to a certain extent, there are certain animals we shouldn't be eating as well. So we don't have to, I'm not going to break down the ultimate diet, because I'm not here to prescribe any diet to anybody. But what I'm saying is, when was the last time you were advertised to, and I don't mean an offhand one-off advertisement that you've seen from some association that represent a certain crop or a certain animal-based food or an animal-based product. I mean the incessant messaging, marketing, and advertising of the manufactured toxins and poisons that we're fooled into eating by deceptive flavorings, by deceptive fragrances. All manner of food scientists are hired to concoct, to design foods that deceive our taste buds, to deceive our sense of smell, and to fool us into eating them until we become addicted, because these chemical toxic poisons that have been manufactured and added to these foods, to these junk, there's a reason they're called junk foods, garbage foods, sludge foods, The reason these toxins and chemicals have been added to them is not just to preserve them, not just to make their manufacturing more efficient, not just to make their shelf life longer, but also to addict us so that we can't stop eating them. How treacherous, how deceptive is that? How evil is that? So that's why I say food. Food is the most insidious of all of the addictions, of all of the deceptions, of all of the false imagery, false constructions, false paths, of all the worst, the most destructive of all the deceptions that we navigate on this planet, because they make us the most sick, the most helpless, the most hopeless over time, because they tear us away slowly. They tear our willpower down slowly. They wreck our health slowly, and they make us unhealthy, decrepit, and sick, frail and weak in a slow, consistent manner till we come to a place where we're wrecked by chronic disease. But the beautiful thing about Yahushua HaMashiach, who saves us, is his clarity allows us to see these foods, to see these drugs, and to see these people for what they are. Poison. Absolute toxic people, toxic chemicals and drugs, toxic highs, toxic pleasures, toxic foods. And he brings such clarity that it all becomes obvious to us. And here's the other thing about Yahushua HaMashiach's salvation. When he fills us with the Ruach HaKodesh and the Holy Spirit, when he fills us with that love and that life, when he fills us with the way and the truth, we are so filled up with health. We're so filled up with healing. We're so filled up with peace and solace. We're so filled up with joy. We're so full that there's no room any longer for this foolishness. There's no room any longer for what's fake. There's no room any longer for the mirage and the hallucination that is the deception of this world. We no longer need it. We no longer want it. You lose. I've been healed in all ways because I've lost the need. I've shed myself of the habit. I've rid myself of the addictions of those things, of negative influencers and poisonous people, toxic people. And again, those toxic people don't enter your life as toxic. Again, they're wearing a mask. It's a masquerade. It comes on slow. The devil doesn't come to you, again, ugly and in the most terrifying of manner. It's a slow creep. It's a deception. The father of lies comes to you beautiful. The father of lies comes to you in the most attractive of manner. Those highs and those joys come to you not as addictions. They come to you as revelry and celebration. And those foods, they don't come to you as poisons that will bring you chronic disease and illness. They come to you as a party, right? They come to you as a festival of pleasure, because we all love to eat, because eating is the most basic form of survival. Eating is something we all have to do. And when you eat to nourish yourself, you fill yourself up with nourishing things, with nutritious things, with things that bring you strength and energy. And so these foods, again, they come to us in the most attractive packages, with the most attractive of scents and the most attractive of taste. And then you start eating them, and immediately you feel all of your pleasure centers are being hit, all those bells are being rung. And then over time you start to feel sick and poisoned. But when you're filled with the light and the love and the energy and the nourishment, the spiritual nourishment of Hamashiach, you see the poison for what it is. But again, your cup runneth over with so much energy, so much life. You're more alive than you've ever been, because all those foods bring death. All those people bring death. All those drugs bring death. But in Hamashiach, we have life. We have salvation. We have redemption. We have healing. We have energy. So, and our cup runs over such that we can't fit. There's no room for any of those poisons. And so we see them for what we are, and we have no taste for them. We don't need them. And so in Hamashiach, he frees us of all addictions. He frees us of all illness. He frees us of all disease. He frees us of all death. And we have everlasting life, and everlasting nourishment. And we see the things that are true for what they are. And so we want people that absolutely love us in our lives. And we want to love them for all the right, constructive, wholesome reasons. We see the things that masquerade as knowledge for what they are, knowing that they're really lies and poison and meant to slowly tear us down. And so we no longer need them, and we only bring into our lives the knowledge that builds us up, that nourishes us, that makes us more innovative, such that we can help other people in new and ingenious and innovative ways to lift them out of the muck and the mire, out of poverty, out of illness, to give them a helping hand in a creative manner. We no longer need the cheap highs and the false celebrations and false revelries and the false escapism and pleasure, the false pleasure, the hedonism of drugs, because we no longer need to escape, and we're higher than we've ever been in Hamashiach, because we have true life. We have the real life. We have the real way. We have the real truth. And it's so filled of love, peace, and solace, all the things you've been searching for. So now you see the drugs for what they are, and you have no taste, you have no need for them. And so you only fill yourself up with things that nourish you, nourishing people, nourishing knowledge, and nourishing foods. That's the best of all, because you no longer have a taste for that garbage. Now you only have a taste for the food of Yah, the food that Yah has created, the food of the Most High, the most nourishing fruits, the most nourishing vegetables, the most nourishing animals. And you don't need to gorge. You don't need to be hedonistic in an orgiastic, absolute, just pell-mell frenzy of eating till you want to vomit. That's you've taken on a discipline. You've taken on a strength. You've taken on an absolute resolve that allows you to eat in a way that builds you up and strengthens you and nourishes you, but doesn't. You no longer need to pursue overeating, because now you're being filled with such nourishing foods that you're satisfied at a level. Before, you were eating all of these foods that have no nourishment. And so you're eating more and you're eating more and you're eating more and you're wondering why. It's not just because you're addicted to the chemicals. It's not just because it's hitting all the pleasure centers. It even goes beyond that. It's because the calories are empty. And so your brain is sending signals that you need more calories because it's searching for the real nourishment that's never there. And so you overeat for that reason as well. But when you fill yourself up with Yah's food, with nourishing food, you hit a natural limit, and you don't need to overeat, and you get a discipline and a resolve to stop. Even, and there are times when you may even want to eat more of that, because that food, that nourishing food, really does fill you up and make you feel good. So maybe you want a little bit more. Maybe you want just a little bit extra. But you're like, you know what? Let me hold off for a second, because you have a new resolve, a new strength. And so you can truly build that resolve, that discipline, and that strength. But I got to tell you that for the most part, you don't even need, it's easy. You don't even need that. Again, when you're eating Yah's food, there's a set point where you don't need the nourishment anymore, and you stop, and you're good. You feel good. So, I talk about discipline, I talk about resolve. Fact is, it's not that hard any longer. It's just not. You don't even really need it, because Yahusha has filled you with sight. Yahusha has filled you with vision. Yahusha has filled you with a clarity for all things, such that you could truly be strong and healthy, so that you could live as an example for your people. So that you don't have to tell them what to do. You just live it. You live in Hamashiach. You live in the way, the truth, and the life. And those who are crying out for it, those who are desperate for the way, the truth, and life, those who are feeling a sense of hopelessness, who are lost in addiction, who are lost in the confusion and chaos of this world, and who are searching, they will hear your voice, because your cup runneth over. So you shout from the rooftop the good news. And those who need to hear will hear, and they'll never unhear again. Those who need to see will see, and they'll never unsee again, because they will have the true sight, true vision, true clarity of Hamashiach. So let us walk with renewed purpose, with renewed strength, and with renewed clarity, so that we can march, so that all can see as we lift the banner for Yahushua HaMashiach, for salvation, and we wave it for the world to see, such that all those who are lost may be found, as we move and groove, as we speed steadfast, unconquerable, undefeatable, unassailable, unstoppable, ceaseless, relentless, to kingdom come.